just because of the 15-minute debacle at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Christ.
Your green screen just doesn't want to green for you. Did you move your camera angle?
It does. No. Oh, my God. This episode couldn't go any worse. Pay no attention to the man behind
the curtain.
Curtain.
There is no man. Pay no attention to the man in front of the curtain.
In front of the curtain, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus fuck. Fucking Gremlins. That's twice now.
Yeah.
And I broke a mic in the meantime. But you can
lights, camera, and action. And action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again. We're going to watch them again. We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. And action movies so preposterously ludicrous.
to the I Remember Liking That.
Hello?
Now, here's your hosts. Now, here's your hosts. Now, here's your hosts.
And now, on with the show.
What do we got?
Gremlins 2.
Yeah, we do.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. We are about to review a movie that we reviewed the first movie, Gremlins, over the holidays. And we hadn't seen Gremlins forever. And we loved it. And usually, if you're listening to this, we pick 3 movies. If we pick the same movie, great. If we pick different movies, the third movie wins. We didn't do that for this. We wanted to watch Gremlins 2 after watching Gremlins.
Yep.
So what do you remember about Gremlins 2?
I remember it being way more out of pocket, like just a lot more wild and crazy antics from the Gremlins, and it pushing more boundaries. Like I remember not quite being scandalized, but kind of scandalized because it was wild and raucous and crazy. Like it didn't have as much. I remember it not having as much story and having just a lot more nuttiness. Yeah. A lot more gremlin craziness.
Yeah. This was not a hard sell for me. Me and my friend Kevin, we did go to the theaters. We got dropped off at the theaters. And I won't say the part there, and this is a part that I have remembered very clearly because of this movie. When you see the movie, you will see and we'll talk about it after. But anybody that went to the theater, because everyone at the theaters felt the same thing I did and my friend did when we watched it. And I'm pretty sure everyone that went to theaters and watched this movie will remember the part I'm talking about, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But yeah, I just remember it being, I remember loving it, and I remember it but being a lot more chaotic, where there was more of they were looking for Stripe and running around town, and there was off the wall cartoon lunacy in the first one, but I just remember it being just dialed up to 10 in this movie.
Yeah. I remember it feeling kind of like, what would happen if we just let the Gremlins run free, like just run amok and let them just do whatever they wanted. And it was wild.
And I'm hoping that's what I remember is. And yeah, well, let's go to box office. And it was released June 15th, pretty close to the same month. And I believe that Gremlins 1 was, but in 1990 had a budget. This is up to debate on the internet between 30 and 50 million. There's not a hard number here.
Yep.
It opened in 2,075 theaters at number 4 with a weekend total of 9.7 million behind Dick Tracy, Another 48 Hours, Total Recall, but ahead of Back to Future 3 and Pretty Woman.
Oh.
Asterix, Back to Future 3 was already out for a month and Pretty Woman was out for like 18 weeks before this. So, but yeah, it ended up with $41.4 million. So it didn't do as anywhere near as well as the first movie. And you can kind of see with the movies that it was up, and I don't know what was out, but it was just the beginning of summer. So there were some bigger movies coming out as well.
Yeah.
It's weird because maybe they waited too long to release this movie.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
There was too much time.
All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. Gremlins 2, The New Batch, released 1990, is a fantasy comedy. Gets a PG-13, unlike its predecessor. It's the first one got PG and was responsible for the PG-13 rating, and has a runtime of 1 hour and 46 minutes.
Respectable.
Taglines. Take your batch to see the new batch. Look out, a new batch is on the way.
Not bad.
Here they grow again.
I like that one.
We warned you. Remember the rules. You didn't listen.
I think if you took out "remember the rules," it would be a better tagline.
Yes.
We warned you. You didn't listen. Better tagline.
Or even we warned you about the rules and you didn't listen. I agree.
Or just remember the rules. We warned you. You didn't listen.
Yeah. So
I like it.
I like it, but
reworked.
It could have been reworked a bit and been a lot better.
Yeah.
That is it.
God bless.
The synopsis. The magical collectible store that Gizmo calls home has just been destroyed, and the tiny monster finds his way into a newly erected skyscraper. Billy Peltzer, Zach Galligan, and his bride-to-be, Kate, Phoebe Cates, who have previously dealt with gremlins run amok, discover that Gizmo and an impish legion of reptilian pals are inhabiting the downtown building. The couple tries to stop the creatures from escaping into New York City, but this new batch of beasts might be uncontrollable.
That's right. It does take place in an office building.
Yeah, and in New York, too.
I remember the New York part.
Yeah. And it's great that Phoebe Cates and
Zach Galligan are back, yeah.
Came back, yeah. And here is the poster. For those listening, it has, we told you, remember the rules, you didn't listen on top, then Gremlins 2, the new batch, here they grow again. It is a office building overlooking New York. The back of the chair has a scratch. There's a little computer off to the side. And there is a gremlin with a cigar tapping the ashes on poor little Gizmo's head in the drawer. I like the poster.
I like the poster too.
I don't like it as much as the first one, but
no,
this was an easy sell. Like as soon as we saw this commercial, all my friends wanted to see it.
I like that it has a cartoon feel to it, the poster.
Yeah.
So it feels very kind of fantasy-like. Like it's not reality. Because weirdly enough, no, we don't have cute little animals that randomly turn into jackasses.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
My kids do. Like as soon as they turn like 12, they turn a little jack.
Yeah, but that's every kid. Every kid hits puberty, and then all of a sudden they're a jackass. And you're like, I just gotta wait it out. I could do it.
All right, over on Rotten Tomatoes. 66 critics reviews have this at 71%. 250,000 audience members have it at 59%. Little opposite
pretty
here.
High.
Yeah. Critics' consensus is Gremlins 2 trades the spiky thrills of its predecessor for loony satire, yielding a succession of sporadically clever gags that add some flavor to a recycled plot. All right, so let's start with the fresh, and you may go.
Thank you. Many filmmakers throughout the years have tried to figure out how to make a live-action cartoon. Joe Dante, with this film, is the only man that got it 100% right. Tim Brayton, alternate ending, original score 5 out of 5. Damn.
Gremlins 2 is sloppy and inconsistent, just as it needs to be. It's bumptious,
Mhm.
Adolescent humor would wilt away if it were subjected to craftsmanship and mature reflection. It's a great review. Dave Kerr, Chicago Tribune, original score 3.5 out of 4. It's like
That's
saying if you
impressive.
tried to make this,
If you tried to make this into an intellectual film,
yes, you would have failed miserably.
it would have turned into a shit show.
Yeah.
God bless. I love the honesty. It's a lot of fun considering the fact it's also based on the antics of a bunch of mean little puppets. Tom Long, Santa Cruz Sentinel.
Gremlins 2, the new batch, has so much comic energy that we overlook its lack of anything worth calling a plot. Nigel Andrews, Financial Times.
It's fantastic.
We'll take turns.
Okay. Gremlins 2 works better than its 1984 predecessor for one simple reason. Gremlins was only partially goofy, while Gremlins 2 is totally goofy. John Woolley, Tulsa World, 3 out of 4.
View it as a live action cartoon and strap yourself in for a roller coaster ride. John Ferguson, Radio Times, 3 out of 5.
Only a snob could resist such a generous level of lunacy. David Anson, Newsweek.
All
Okay,
right.
that fits with what I remember.
Yeah, like it's just off
Just
the wall.
A hot mess, crazy.
Well, I'll wait till the end. Give my I'll start with Rotten Tomatoes. The bad. A busy but boring sequel that spends most of its energy piling topical parody on top of the product plug on top of gooey horror special effects. Gene Siskel, Chicago Tribune, original score 2 out of 4.
Let's get right to it, which is what director Joe Dante does. This movie has no surprises, just a bigger dose of the bizarre, sadistic, ugly little creatures that surfaced in the original. Ralph Novak, People Magazine.
Any movie with former Dracula Christopher Lee as a scientist who creates a gremlin bat can't be all bad, but there's a reason we never received a Gremlins 3. Matt Brunson, Creative Loafing, original score 2.5 out of 4.
Too many gremlins and not enough storyline. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, original score 2.5 out of 4.
And these are all bad reviews, but even the worst one by Gene Siskel was 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
And these last two were both 2.5 out of 4. So it's not...
It's bad, but it's not
like
painful.
Trying to like set myself up for International Movie Database, the voice of reason. That should be their slogan. 111,000 user ratings, has it at 6.4 out of 10.
Okay.
You may start.
More laughs, more gremlin, and a lot more fun. 10 out of 10 plus 2 more stars. 10 out of 10, a Tinder.
Nice. They really liked it.
They really did.
One of the most overlooked and underrated sequels ever. 9 out of 10, Darth Osmosis.
Off the wall and completely out there. 8 out of 10. David Sim, 240183.
Balls to the Wall. 7 out of 10. Stega Stack Savior.
Yeah. Gremlins Take Manhattan. 6 out of 10. Jack O. Hassanov. IMDb. Yeah.
The new batch needs seasoning. 5 out of 10. Anaconda 40658.
A real lover of original but willing to admit sequel sucks. 4 out of 10. The Red Death 30.
Gremlins 2. What a fucking train wreck. 3 out of 10. WWW. Hi all. There was no 2 out of 10s.
No.
So you may take the last one if I'm pretty sure there is one.
Yes. I want to die. All of my worst dreams come to life. Would be a good movie if you were stoned out of your mind. I hate this movie so much. Save yourself and don't watch this. 1 out of 10. Killian Juice. Yes, that's what he said.
Yep.
Yep, that's what he called himself. That's a whole thing.
All right. So get you out of here. All right. So box office, tail of the tape, and some reviews. Now we are going to watch the trailer and then we'll make our predictions.
Remember the last time we told you not to feed them after midnight? We told you to keep them away from the light. They're mutating.
Sir, is the building on fire? No, that's a false alarm.
Are you trying to panic New York City?
Absolutely not. So the monsters are real?
I didn't say that. Gremlins 2. The new batch.
Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
I just had a flash of a memory triggered by that trailer, and I'm like, I don't know if that actually happens in the movie, but I
The
have a
talking
scene
one?
in my head. No, not the talking one. Before that, when you saw Gizmo in the box, it triggered a memory of another scene, and I was like, I don't know if that's just imagination making it up, or
Is
if it
it
actually happened.
where he's watching the TV show and he's watching Rambo?
And then he ties the thing around his to
Yeah,
get
that's
ready
what
to
I
go.
remember.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
thank God.
So he loves Rambo and Sylvester
Yeah,
Stallone, so he puts
'cause
the red bandana on.
because he's
Yeah.
gonna go take care of the gremlins. I think I remember laughing at that so hard just because I was like, oh my God, cute little fuzzy rainbow. Okay.
So
I'm
what
glad
are
that
your
wasn't just in my head?
no? What are your predictions for this movie?
I think this movie is going to have such a thin plot. It's transparent, but it's going to be a lot of fun and just filled with ridiculousness.
Yeah, this movie to me looks exactly like, remember the bar scene where
Yeah,
it was just nuts. Nothing made sense. It was just crazy gremlins doing crazy things, and it looks like they just took that and just said, "Let's just do that for the whole movie."
100%.
Yeah, and as long as the plot is Gizmo obviously gets wet, they feed them after midnight, and
Yeah.
they get more wet, and then you have hundreds and hundreds, and it looked like there is a lot of gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I want, and that's as long as it's funny and Gizmo was there, and yeah, no, I think I'm gonna like it. I remember loving it. I'm hoping I like this movie.
Yes.
It's not as bad as the first Gremlins, where I'm like, if I have to like, this has to be still good. I want this one to be good. It doesn't have to be good. I have my original Gremlins, but it would be so much better if this movie was awesome.
I remember really liking this movie and thinking it was hilarious and ridiculous. I don't think it'll hold up to that same level.
No, maybe not.
Maybe not that same level that I remember it being at, but I do think I'll still enjoy it. I do think I'll still have fun with it. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to try and see how many like super offensive things are said or done in this movie. Because I'm like, I have a feeling it's going to happen.
Yeah, probably. It's only 1990.
That's right. That was before we all knew better.
Yeah.
Or we were trying to do better.
1990.
Woo woo.
All right. Well, we are going to go watch Gremlins 2, the new batch. And when we come back, we are going to review it. Here's hoping. Woohoo.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a chance to go watch Gremlins 2. If you are listening to this and I sound a little off, we had a gremlin problem of our own, and my fucking mic is broken. I think I can fix it, but it would take me to have the replacement thing somewhere, but
Yeah.
So here's hoping editing can work the magic.
I'm sure it can.
So did you watch Gremlins 2?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so did I. And just so we know, basically what we're going to do is we're going to give away a copy of Gremlins 2. It's going to start if you watch this. So what we are going to do is I am going to ask a question sometime during this podcast, and whether you watch on YouTube or listen on YouTube or listening on one of the podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google podcasts, I will ask a question, then you email us The email is below, and in the subject line, just give me the answer, and then we will pick, and I think we're going to let it run till the episode drops on podcasting on Sunday. So that will be this Sunday on the 28th, and we will close it up by the 4th. So anyone that emails us has a chance to win Gremlins 2, the new batch. All right, your initial thoughts of Gremlins 2.
It was unhinged. It was chaotic, and it was gross, and it was completely unhinged. And I liked it.
Yeah. My initial thoughts, it was fun. It was very nostalgic. It was ridiculous. It was insanity. And the movie leaned into all of it very hard.
Yes.
Right.
Oh boy, did it ever.
All right. Well, let us get into Gremlins 2, the new batch. All right, here we go. After Mr. Wing dies, the Mogwai Gizmo becomes the guinea pig of scientists at a lab in the Clamp Center, a state-of-the-art high-rise building in Manhattan owned by eccentric billionaire Daniel Clamp. So before anything actually starts, we get a sweet Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck intro, which I totally forgot about. I love those.
I forgot it was a thing too.
Yeah.
For a hot second there.
I probably said this before. The drive-in I take the kids to, they play old Warner Brothers cartoons during the intermission before the second feature. So anyways, then after the cartoon, we're off back to Chinatown. Did you find this one less stereotypical?
Mildly. But that's because this time it's a construction site. So people have abandoned the buildings. There's construction, like fences and stuff in the area. So I was like, okay, that explains why it looks like shit. So it was slightly less racist.
Mr. Clamp sends the doctor from Star Trek Voyager to make an offer to Mr. Wing. I love how this was probably a show of strong hand high techness back in 1990.
Carrying TV and VCR.
Yeah. And if you're listening and don't remember, Mr. Clamp cannot make it, or he doesn't want to, and he sends his minions who bring in a TV, VCR, and Robert Picardo, the doctor.
With hair.
Yeah, with hair. Yeah, threw me off a bit.
Yeah, me too.
He takes a VHS tape out of his pocket or underneath his jacket and slips it in the VCR. I love the two goons setting it up, one looking like where to plug it in. Do you know there are kids out there that would watch this and go, what the fuck is going on?
Why didn't they take out their phone?
Yeah.
Just play the video from there.
Yeah, Mr. Wing declines the offer. They go back to the car where one guy is like, sorry, it won't sell, Mr. Forster. And the doctor from Voyager is like, did you hear that cop? He's not going to be around much longer. And 6 weeks later, Mr. Wing is dead. Yep. What happened to the grandkid? The kid that gave Gizmo to Mr. Peltzer in the first movie?
Apparently, he wasn't talking to Grandpa no more.
No.
Or he's the one that sold the property.
Or Mr.
He inherits it. And then
killed him after the first movie for selling the Mogwai. And I also
back to China.
Yeah. And I also noticed or remembered when Mr. Wing came back and got Gizmo from the first movie.
Yeah.
He never gave Mr. Peltzer's money back. Mr. Wing kept that money.
Fuck yeah.
Just saying.
Mr. Wing didn't take his money.
That's
so it's
true.
not Mr. Wing's job to give it back.
That's true. Yeah, the grandkid did. Yeah.
Yep.
I also like Forster keep the TV and Gizmo starts watching it immediately. Like Rambo 2, which becomes very important later on.
Yes.
But he was really getting into Rambo 2. That was great. Now Mr. Wing is dead. They're demolishing the store so they can build Mr. Clamp's new Chinatown. Gizmo has nowhere to go, but he has to get out. So shame on Mr. Wing not making proper arrangements for Gizmo, and shame on the grandson for not being there. Unless Mr. Wing actually did kill him or send him back to China.
Also, that entire building was still filled with all of his stuff.
Yeah, they didn't give a shit.
Did they not send anyone to clear out the space?
No.
And resell his shit, make a little more money?
No, so Gizmo hightails it out of there. Some great shots, some great special practical effects, and some not so great effects too.
But you have to admit, him running down the street was adorable.
Yeah. And the not so great ones were really bad, but quick and not used again. Gizmo is just chilling downtown with the two weirdo twins that were in a bunch of movies and shows. But they take Gizmo. The movie, I can actually recall these two. They were the guys that edited the news that Robin Williams couldn't say in Good Morning Vietnam. And they were the guard. One was the guard, and the T-1000 replicates him in T2 Judgment Day. Fun fact, hold on, I wrote it down. About these two, their names are Dan and Don. And every movie they ever did was with each other. Never a solo career.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. At the mercy of chief researcher Dr. Catheter. I love that name. Gizmo is rescued by his former owner, Billy Peltzer, and his fiancee, Kate, both of whom work elsewhere in the building. Okay, so Wikipedia doesn't give you a whole lot here. So we see Billy and Kate played by the same actors, Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates. Thank God, I hate that. It's worse when it happens in sitcoms or series, but Billy and Kate both work at the Clamp Center. We also see Billy is friends with the late night horror movie host, Grandpa Fred. Yeah. Or he plays Dracula, played by another familiar face, Robert Prosky. You just know him. He was in a lot. Delivery guy drops off some disease for Dr. Catheter, played by the late, great, and amazingly talented and entertaining, no matter what you saw him in: Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Star Wars, B movies, Dracula, The Wicker Man, whatever. Christopher Lee. He played Dracula in 10 different movies.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Each one different
different movies, different franchises, different
caliber of goodness.
Yeah.
But that is commitment to the character. And that man has 289 movies and television credits. Not all good.
Well, no, of course
but
not.
Impressive. I love Christopher Lee. But the delivery guy, who played it by none other than Raymond Cruz, and if you don't know that name, I promise you will know his face. He's delivering the package to Dr. Catheter and hears Gizmo's whistling, and is later whistling where Billy hears him. Billy's like, "Where did you hear that tune?" And he's like, "Up in the laboratory." So he goes up there. And did you notice the secretary?
It was the secretary
in the lab. It was bugging the shit out of me.
Yes, I was like, "Oh my god, it's Pat." But that was all I could remember.
Julia Sweeney from SNL.
Yeah, Julia Sweeney. But I was like, it's Pat. Oh my God, it's Pat. That's what was burned in my... I'm like, I know this woman has a real name, but I can't think of it.
Billy finds Gizmo, lets a few monkeys out to create a diversion. Gizmo then has to chill in the cabinet for a while. Okay, back to Wikipedia. Clamp befriends Billy upon being impressed by his skills in concept design, sparking the interest of Billy's superior, Marla Bloodstone. Mr. Clamp, or John Glover, is fantastic. He's great in a lot of movies and TV.
Yes.
Marla Haviland Morris.
Yep.
Jake Ryan's girlfriend in 16 Candles.
Really?
Yeah. Did not know that. That's a little...
oh my God. I can kind of see it now.
When you know it and then you look at her, you're like, that's her. Yeah,
but she looks so different.
She was also in an episode of Cosby, so she was probably molested. Mr. Clamp loves his drawing, Billy's. Marla decides to hitch her horse to that wagon, and they go have a quote-unquote business meeting. Okay, so Gizmo left in the office where water spills on his head from a broken...
Are you not going to talk about the business meeting?
Yes, I'll catch up to the business meeting, yeah.
No worries, just wanted to be sure we were going to touch on that.
Drinking fountain and spawns 4 new Mogwai. Yes, at the business meeting, Marla was a little, how do we say, aggressive?
Handsy. She was very touchy-feely. And also, the business meeting was at the Canadian restaurant where you're served by a Mountie and they clean the fish at the table.
Yeah, that's gross.
And then there's chocolate mousse for dessert. Would you like an antler?
Actually, an actual fucking mousse.
It's a mousse head just made out of chocolate.
I love when familiar actors just pop up for no real reason.
Yeah.
I recognize the Mountie.
Yep, me too.
I recognize John Aston.
Yep.
The original Gomez Adams as the janitor. And I like that they gave these Mogwai more personality, where in the original it was just Stripe and the others were just the same.
Yeah.
And so everyone knows they weren't named like in this movie. That no one gave them names. But in the script, we have Mohawk, an obvious descendant of Stripe, or Stripe reincarnated. Then we have George, the grumpy one, and then his buddy Lenny.
Who's the crazy one?
George and Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Ah, yes.
No, Lenny was the stupid one.
Oh, right.
And and my absolute favorite Mogwai, Daffy. That's his name in the script. When they're all being born and checking out the surroundings, and Daffy is just bouncing all over the office with that laugh. Oh my God, that was awesome. And it should be noted, Daffy had no interest in what the others were doing with Gizmo and had no interest in hurting Gizmo. He was just interested in being a fucking lunatic.
Yes. He was just there to have fun.
Yeah. They cage Gizmo in the air vents and later eat at the building's food court after midnight, becoming gremlins. Okay. And here Wikipedia skips a bit. After Gizmo escapes from the vent, Mohawk captures him, tortures. Okay. So Billy gets Kate to go pick up Gizmo. She finds Daffy just sitting on some building playing and laughing. She takes him home and he's just wired, throws a blender off the counter and sees her jump, and that just makes him laugh. Billy is at the dinner with Marla getting his foot job. While poor Kate is trying to feed Daffy, who is just getting his kicks by pelting her with food.
Yeah.
Billy decides enough is enough. He leaves, goes home, all excited to see Gizmo. Instead gets Daffy. And I love this scene, and there is a reason for this.
Kate, where did you find this guy?
In your office, where you said.
This is not Gizmo. You have to go back.
Billy, you said that there weren't going to be any more of those.
There won't be, okay? Not if they don't eat after midnight.
But look at him. I mean, he's wired.
And that is a clip for a reason. Okay, so yeah, I love that stupid Mogwai. He is my absolute favorite Mogwai gremlin, hands down. Kate is all worried, and then we go back to the clamp building where Mohawk, George, and Lenny are heading to the food court. Great scene.
Yes.
George just pumping the ice cream into Lenny until it just backs up and covers. Mohawk coming out of the Skittles or the M&Ms, and everyone's like, rat!
It's a rat.
Yeah, and they're like, did they say rat? And he's like, the kid behind the counter, he's like, no, he said no rat. And can we also acknowledge the absurdity of the little things, like Billy's light going out, so he has to move around to get it to come back on, or the random speakers saying shit like whoever owns whatever car.
Yeah, it's dirty.
It's dirty and old. Please remove it from our parking lot. Because you automatically think your light's on or you park where you're not supposed to. No, it's dirty and old.
Dirty and it's old.
Now Billy and Kate are looking for Gizmo and the other Mogwai. Security sees Billy trying to burst into, I think he was trying to shut off the water.
Yes, he was trying to shut off the water.
Yeah.
So that they could not get wet and multiply.
And security guard played by Rick Ducommun, who I remember from The Burbs and a few other things. And he demands to see what's in Billy's bag. And Daffy, the lunatic Mogwai, pops out and latches right onto his nose. And I like where Billy's like, we got to do something. They're dangerous. And he's like, really, you think? As his nose is bleeding. So Daffy gets away. He escapes. Billy goes to jail. Kate bails him out. They also had the Futtermans visit.
Yes,
from the first movie.
Survived.
And we thought they died.
I know.
So they actually lived. And
I was so excited to see that they lived. I was like, that's nice.
And they're like, well, you can't, because they have to go deal with the gremlins. So they're like, you have to get a hotel because they're getting fumigated.
Yeah. Per my thoughts.
Yeah. Kate bails them out of the jail. And they go back to the clamp building where it is already too late. The pods have hatched. But he's in there with Forster and he's trying to explain everything. And they start asking questions about the gremlins. What I loved about this was they were asking questions that everyone had after the first movie.
Yes.
I didn't, because I was a stupid kid back then. But if food gets stuck in their teeth, what midnight does it go by? What if they're on a plane and they cross a time zone?
Which midnight matters, like which one counts.
Oh, it was awesome. Mohawk comes ripping through the control panel and attacks a guy. Everyone freaks out, and Billy screams, scares him off with a flashlight. I like how Billy's going to go do it. He gives the flashlight to the girl and says, just point it, and they're scared of it. And then Forster just takes it from her.
Yeah. He's like, no, we protect me.
The other gremlins set off the fire sprinklers and spawn a gremlin army that throws the building into chaos. Billy attempts to lure the gremlins into the lobby where sunlight will kill them. Okay, we missed all the insanity. Yeah. Okay, so I have some notes here. So Mohawk must have, he must have some stripe memory because he tortures Gizmo a lot in this movie.
He does.
Way more than the other ones in the first movie.
He's so mean.
The photocopier with his little legs kicking.
Him tied to the toy train tracks.
Yeah, I made a note. Tie him to the toy train track and then run him over the train.
I was like, no. And then there's the Velcro that he was pulling off of him.
Yeah, putting the Velcro on and ripping it off.
I was like, why is there Velcro? And then I'm like,
he fucking hates Gizmo.
He really does.
Then we go to where Kate is giving a tour.
Yes.
And they go to the cooking show with Drunky Microwave Marge. Did we notice the Japanese tourists with taking all the pictures? Played by, hold on, I got it. Gide Watanabe?
Getty? Watanabe?
Gide, mate.
It's Watanabe.
Of 16 Watanabe. Watanabe?
Yes.
What did I say? Watanabe. Yeah. 16 Candles, Gung Ho, UHF. He's been in a lot and very memorable every movie he's been in. And as Marge is drinking and cooking, she opens up the pot, and there is Daffy, all insane and now in gremlin form. George and Lenny get the idea with the microwave. Mohawk wasn't there. He was just torturing Gizmo, right?
Yeah, just torturing Gizmo.
The microwave blows up and it sets off the sprinklers. Kate realizes what's going on and has to drag Mr. Katsuji, that's the character, as he just keeps snapping pictures. And from there, it is utter chaos. What's that?
There is so much in this movie. It's hard to keep it straight.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, yes, I'm going to try. Back in the security, they notice hundreds and hundreds of things popping up on their radar thing. Yes, because they go back because he is still torturing Gizmo at this point. Kate gets into an elevator in one of my favorite scenes. Me and all my kids laugh. The gremlins are fucking around and sending the elevator shooting upward. And when Kate yells stop and tells the computer to sound the alarm, and all you hear is the gremlins pretending to be the alarm. That was awesome. That was a great scene. They're like,
Yep.
Mr. Clamp is bored, decides to take some memos with his secretary. He hears her scream. A gremlin actually put a mouse trap
in her sandwich.
And then you hear the snap. Then when he goes and looks, and that gremlin's pretending to be the secretary and just typing away. And I think he was doing like the ABCs.
It was just awesome. Like all you see is
just his hands going and he's all proud he's doing it. It attacks Mr. Clamp until he shoves into the paper shredder.
Yeah, that was gross. Really, really gross.
Yeah, it was gooey. Billy and Forster show up. Billy has a plan, and Clamp makes Forster go with Billy. I love how Forster's like, why me? Clamp is like, I hired you to fix all the bugs in the building. These are some pretty big fucking bugs.
Yep.
Kate is now assaulted as the gremlins have gotten axes and giant drills to get in. They grab her leg. And you hear like little things like they grab her two legs, and you hear like make a wish as they're trying to pull her apart. Then we go, Daffy Gremlin, now in construction or electrician gear, and it's just sabotaging the shit out of electrical, causes the elevator to drop. Kate goes flying into the air. The elevator crashes. Realistically, she probably would not have survived that, killing all the gremlins underneath. We even get Leonard Moulton, a movie reviewer, I'm sure people have heard of, reviewing the original Gremlins in a studio, and he's bashing the shit out of the movie until the other gremlins come attack him and drag him off. That was a great scene too.
That was fantastic.
But not until we get to back to the genetics lab. This is where the insanity it gets even crazier. The gremlins get into the lab. Dr. Cather, what is he? A giant pea pod? He's walking in with a giant pea pod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
He sees the gremlins running around and he just assumes they're an experiment. He's like, I leave you guys alone for a few minutes. But the gremlins get into all different experiments, and it's all the things they showed us before, like the giant spider, the bouncy thing, the electric rats. Yeah. And thankfully, every beaker is labeled with a picture for us viewers. Of course.
You have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because in science, you need pictures.
Yeah. You don't write the name of stuff. You put pictures on it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. First, we get vegetable gremlin.
Yes.
My second favorite, brain gremlin.
Yes.
Voiced by Tony Randall.
Yes. And I was wondering for a very long time, like, why is his voice so familiar? Why is his voice so familiar? Then I looked up and I was like, I get it now.
Yeah. Where are we? Then we get electric gremlin.
Yeah.
Which is pure electricity in like gremlin form. We get bat gremlin.
Yes.
Which was gross. Yes. Who brain gives permanent sunscreen serum to.
Yes.
So that bat takes off and attacks the Futtermans. I get how hard this would be to do back then. And it did look really good at times. And it looked really bad at times on the fight with the bat gremlin. But Mr. Futterman gets the thing off of him and pours cement on it. And it flies up and lands on a building where it hardens and turns into a gremlin gargoyle statue. Kate is just trying to get out, and we get the flashback from the flashing gremlin.
Yes.
I don't know whereabouts it is, but I remember it. And because Kate starts to have one of her Christmas story moments, and she starts talking about,
we can't talk about it. It was Lincoln Day.
Lincoln Day. And we went to the park, and it was starting to turn into this
man. He was very tall and he had a beard, and he looked a lot like Lincoln.
But it didn't look like he was wearing anything under his coat. And Billy's like, we don't have time for this. And I'm like, this sounds like it's gonna be really dark.
Oh my god. I was like, that was a good callback. That was a good callback to the OG Gremlins. I was like, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, that was good. Then this is what I was talking about during the preview. My friend Kevin and I went and saw this in a theater. It was opening weekend, I think, or the next weekend, but it was quite full. And when the film started to go funny and burn, and it actually looked like the reel was broke, everyone in the theater bought it. Like, people were sarcastically clapping and yelling, "Way to go, numb-nuts." People were getting pissed. Yeah. Because in the actual theater one, it is a little longer.
Yeah.
When it breaks, to get everyone kind of worked up. Warner Brothers actually didn't want it put in. So Joe Dante actually had it tested, and the test audience loved it.
Yeah.
And they actually had a problem because they kept it in for the VHS release, and people, because they kept that length in, were stopping the VCR and sending it back to the movies. And the actual VHS company called Warner Brothers and going, "What the fuck?" So they had to shut it down really. So the Gremlins popped up on screen.
I had forgotten about that scene.
Yeah.
Until it started. And then it was like, oh my God, that's right. It has the burning film in this.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that scene at all until it started. And I was like, oh, memory unlocked.
And when the Gremlins shadows popped up and they were fucking around, that had to be one of my all-time memorable movie theater moments. And then the mother comes out in the movie and is complaining that this movie's worse than the first one. And the projectionist is refusing to go back up to the booth because all they want is Snow White. Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt and threatening to come up there and beat the Gremlins. Jesus Christ.
I was like, this is peak late 80s, early 90s. Peak.
Yeah.
Also, what movie theater has a guy standing there in a tuxedo?
Yeah.
What? Sir, you should be wearing a polyester uniform.
Yeah, I'm like, what the? This is insane.
Yeah.
All in a good way.
Oh, a fantastic, but it's insane.
Yeah, insanity. Complete and utter insanity.
Yep.
Yeah. Then we get back Dracula, or Grandpa Fred.
Grandpa Fred.
He sees that no other reporters are allowed in the building. And since he always wanted to be a newsman, he finds Mr. 16 Candle, Mr. Katsuji, and asks if he knows how to work a camera. He's like, I am a camera. Let's not forget the gremlin who throws acid in another gremlin's face for that Phantom of the Opera gag. Then we meet Greta, the sexual assaulted gremlin.
Yes. She likes to cop feels.
Yeah.
And corner people.
Dr. Cather has a plan, and Billy's like, something sciencey, and he's like, no, I have an arsenal of assault weapons. Like, what the fuck were they doing in there that you have to have a whole arsenal of assault rifles?
He walked in and he was like, oh, this is another experiment. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So if he's not freaked out by gremlins.
Sure enough, yeah.
They're doing
and then he
some
puts his hand right into the locker and screams and pulls it, and he's got a whole gremlin up to his elbow trying to eat it. And then they finally get it off, and that's when Electric Boogaloo 2 gremlin comes in, the electric gremlin, and just kills the doctor.
Yeah.
Mohawk gets the Uzi. Forster is running for his life, blowing his rape whistle. Billy is hightailing it out of there. Mohawk grabs the beaker with the spider picture on it. I wonder what that's going to do. Mr. Clamp discovers Fred interviewing Brain Gremlin. That was a great interview.
That was a great interview.
Brain Gremlin explains what they want, and what they want is what everyone else has.
Yeah.
And he's like, sure, we'll stumble along the way, but we want to be civilized.
We want to be civilized and to live. And then he shoots a gremlin in the face, and then he's like, I mean, sure, we'll stumble. And sometimes we'll make mistakes. And Grandpa Fred just kind of stands up and walks away.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, now, is that civilized? No.
Yeah.
Fun, yes, but not civilized.
And then Brain goes on to like this monologue about what they want and what they need. And And Grandpa Fred walks away, nice and quiet. He's like, maybe I don't stand next to the crazy man.
With the gun. Yeah, I love Brain Gremlin.
Yeah.
I like, he's like, we'll have to get schedules for Broadway shows. And he's like, we've heard about the street violence, but I believe we can watch that for free. Oh, can you tell I really enjoyed watching this movie? Billy and Mr. Clamp, they come up with a plan to kill all the gremlins, to put tarps over all the windows to make it look like everything is turning into evening, so all the gremlins would gather in the lobby.
Yeah.
Mr. Clamp pops up out of that elevator built into the shrubbery thing. Meanwhile, Kate is just trying to get out. Gizmo has been training for battle like Rambo 2. Like
of course.
Sylvester Stallone. And he's got the red headband on and everything.
He makes himself a little bow.
Yeah, a little bow and arrow with a paper clip and an elastic.
So cute.
Billy gets knocked out by Daffy Gremlin and ends up in a dentist chair.
Yes.
Daffy is a wacky SOB, I tell you. Mr. Futterman saves him, but Daffy gets away.
Yeah.
Kate finds Marla in a web, a la Mohawk turning into a spider gremlin. Marla admits to hitting on Billy, but Billy turned her down. But it doesn't matter because here comes Spider Gremlin.
Yeah.
Spider Gremlin. Yeah. Spider Gremlin. Does whatever a Spider Gremlin can do. But have no fear. Gizmo is here with his bandana and his little bow and arrow and white out that I guess is flammable.
It is very.
Is it? Oh, okay. I hope my kids didn't realize that. Yeah, and Gizmo toast Mohawk, burns him to a crisp.
Yep.
Yeah, he deserved it. He was a dick.
He really was. I was not sad about that death. Not at all.
No. Billy and Mr. Futterman find Marla, Kate, and Gizmo. Meanwhile, the big musical number starts. This was great. New York, New York. And it should be known, Joe Dante had 100% complete creative control. And he said this was the movie that he poured the most creativity into. The shots of the gremlins, the cut to the Phantom of the Opera, Greta Gremlin making her grand entrance coming out of that big stage thing.
That was fantastic.
The gremlins stockpiling military weapons. It's like they were making this movie and someone would be like, what if we did this? And what if we did this? And Dante was like, fuck yeah, we'll do that.
Honestly, I think that was essentially, I think that the entire script started with, okay, here's the setup. Here's how they start getting made. And then we're just hijinks ensue. And then they give you the end of the movie. And that's it.
Yeah, it's probably 2 pages. And the guy reading was like, okay, gremlins are in a building. Then what?
And then they're like,
whatever
we're just going to make a list of everything we want to do. And then we're going to do it all.
Yeah, we got 30 to 50 million.
Let's go.
Billy gets an idea, tells Mr. Futterman to get ready and to blast him with water. Goes to the phone and finds the electric gremlin still on hold being tortured by the moose hack. That was funny. They're blasted by the water. Billy takes the phone off hold and the electric gremlin fries them all.
Yeah.
This was cool. Yeah, I like the Wicked Witch. I'm melting.
Yeah.
I'm melting. It was super gross.
So gross.
This was actually for 80s because it was released in 90s. So it was filmed in the 80s, late 80s. This was the electricity effect. Actually, I've seen a lot worse from the 80s and 90s, to be honest. But the practical effects of the gremlins melting and the skeletons, it was really, really well done.
Super good.
Yeah.
I will give them that. Yeah, 100%.
Clamp charges in with the police and press, but sees the conflict is resolved. Thrilled by the result, he promotes Billy, Kate, Fred, and Marla and hires Mr. Katsuji as a cameraman. He sees Billy's drawing of Kingston Falls and offers a promotion for Billy to help him build an entire town, offers Fred to be a news anchor.
Yeah.
Billy and Kate then return home with Gizmo. Forster calls Clamp to notify him that he is trapped at the highest floor of the building. The female gremlin, nicknamed Greta, and the sole survivor of the horde, corners him and entices him to marry her. And he seemed to kind of like it.
he seemed to come around to the idea. Initially, he seemed very hesitant and a little trepidatious, if you will. But then eventually it seemed like he was warming up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is our movie. Yay, Gremlins! Woo! Okay, so before we start, here is what is the name of Jimy's absolute favorite Mogwai or gremlin? So you can email us at @gmail.com. Put the answer in the subject line. We will be running this for a week, or up until, my bad, February 4th. If it's after February 4th and you're hearing this, you're shit out of luck. And if we pick you, we will email you, and you can email us back your mailing info, and we will email you the Blu-ray copy of Gremlins 2. And it actually comes with over 10 minutes of footage never seen.
Ooh.
Behind-the-scenes documentary.
Ooh.
Commentary by director Joe Dante, Zach Galligan, writer Charlie something, and some producer. It has a gag reel, alternate
ending,
alternate home video sequence. When they have the Hulk Hogan, they redid it. It's John Wayne.
Oh wow.
Who was dead when this was made. So I don't know how they did this, but yeah, for their home video release, they did it. Yeah, and so yeah. Actually, I might keep this and just send another one to whoever wins.
You're like, I wouldn't mind this one.
I wouldn't mind seeing that stuff. Okay,
I can understand that.
So, what is the name of Jamie's absolute favorite Mogwai or gremlin? I said it quite a few times. I even showed a clip. And I remember liking that movie at gmail.com. All right. There, that out of the way. What is your score?
Okay. I like this movie. It's heavy on the nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
It is chaotic and it is crazy and it is unhinged. And there are things where I'm like, how is that PG-13? I feel like that rating should be a little higher.
They were probably thinking the same thing. Like, we have to come up with another fucking rating.
Yeah. But it was funny because I ended up having to rent it on Prime.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was super glad that I did. And then I actually had a moment where I was like, I should have bought it. I should have bought it. Because this is the type of movie that you can definitely put on when you have some friends over, you're ordering pizza, you're like, let's put on Gremlins 2. It is a crazy, unhinged, like just chaotic mess, but I love it. Let's watch it. Because there's so much. So much in it that you can watch it 12 different times and you will pick up on 12 different things.
Yeah.
Like 12 new things. So, I mean, it was a really fun watch, but I spent most of it being like, oh my God, that's right, that happened. Oh my God, that's right. Oh, I forgot he was in it. Oh, I forgot she was in it. Oh, that's right, them. So it was. I need to watch it a few more times. So I'm probably going to end up watching it, even though I rented it. I'm just going to watch it first thing tomorrow morning. And I think everybody, if you can buy it, I didn't even say buy it at full price, because this is one of those things you can also introduce this movie to your kids or to younger people and be like, here you go. There's no storyline, there's no plot, but it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you buy the digital copy or would you want the
I'd probably want the
copy?
DVD.
Yeah.
The physical copy.
Yeah.
Because I like those better.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I used to be all digital. I'm really starting to lean now that they're taking movies off street and you can't find them. I'm like, fuck. I'm starting to get into that a lot more now. Okay, so I'll buy it at full price.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My score. Yeah. This movie was not unlike the first one while being completely different at the same time. The reviews made it sound like 10 minutes in, we're bombarded by gremlins. Yes, it didn't tell the whole backstory like the first or the rules and all that, but it didn't need to. We already got that. It did take the time to introduce us to all the characters, Mr. Clamp, Forrester, Marla, Dr. Cather, the creepy twins, the Futtermans. So I thought the pacing was fine. It leaned more into the comedy and crazy with a hint of horror and grossness. Well, a lot of grossness. And no real mystery at all. Where the first one had crazy moments, this movie started when the new batch first popped off with Gizmo's back and spawned a greatly appreciated Mogwais with their own characteristics instead of just one main villain. It was full of nostalgia. It was greatly paced, as in it was a roller coaster. It just didn't stop. There were a lot less visible mistakes with the puppets, and more importantly, this was a fun movie. Blurred movie and parody, but all the actors were committed. The effects are still great. Not all of them. There are a few that have not aged well, but for the most part, awesome. You are never, ever bored. There is so much going on with subtle jokes or just straight in your face. If you remember liking Gremlins 2, the new batch, I am happy to inform you that it is still 100% complete lunacy and a whole lot of fun. I say buy it. Buy the 4K if it ever gets released on 4K. As of now, but yeah, you could probably get the Blu-ray at a pretty good price. Now, is it better than the first?
It's a different movie.
Yeah,
it's a very different movie.
Yeah, I said no because it is a different movie, but it is a sweet sequel that is right up there with the first, if slightly below it. Like you couldn't ask for a better companion.
I think they literally just went, okay, we're going to go, like one of the reviewers said that we read on here, balls to the wall. We're just going to have as much fun with it as I can. And they poked fun at the first one. Yeah. And they referenced back to it. It was a fun but crazy movie. Had a very different vibe. So the first movie, the gremlins come up, they cause chaos, but it's still a controlled chaos.
Yeah.
This movie asks and answers the question, what would happen if there was like a mass making of gremlins and they were just able to run free, like completely unfettered? And that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, that is exactly what we got. Yeah. It is too bad that it wasn't as well received back in the day because there was no third. But Chris Columbus has come out and said just this past October or November that with the Mogwai cartoon series done and well received, that the script is already written for the third. Oh, wow. And they are moving forward on the third movie that is from Chris Columbus himself. It was going to be a reboot, which I would be fine with, but it's actually going to be a continuation, which I'm also fine with.
Oh, that would be fun.
As long as Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates are part of it.
That would be really great.
Yeah.
Maybe it's their kids who have to take care of the Mogwai now.
Yeah. So, yeah. And remember, emails at irememberthatmovie@gmail.com with the answer in the subject line. The contest will run from now. Oh, I wrote it down to from January 24th to February 4th. And then we'll review the winner on a YouTube probably around February 7th, which I believe will be Valentine's. But yeah, if you remember liking or you don't remember liking this movie and you're watching the YouTube, let us know below or email us and tell us about the movie or anything else about Gremlins 2.
No, that's it for me on Gremlins 2. It was a chaotic hot mess, and I'm probably going to watch it a couple more times just to be like, I know I missed stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know I did.
Yeah. And I do apologize if I sound awful. We had our own Gremlins problem.
Yes.
and my microphone is fucked. All right. So until the next movie we remember liking.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,